So thanks everyone for joining the AMA. So apologies that this one has taken a bit longer for us to get started. It's obviously been a busy time for crypto. Mike's just been to a yet another event in Singapore last week, and there were a lot of people that were eager to talk to him. So yeah, we have the standard sort of format. Obviously, we're just doing it here, so it's a little bit more personal. You will have a video to go with it, like we had with the hot takes for September. So it's a little bit more engaging. It's the standard format, as I mentioned, 5 sort of questions that have been burning holes in Telegram and Discord over the past few weeks. So we've got those. There are 5 questions from social media that we've picked up and any that have popped up along the way. And then there will be 5 questions taken from the Discord channel, which if you have a question that pops up during the session, please feel free to ask it. Everyone should be able to see the AMA-questions channel. You just need to do /ask, type your question, and it'll go into a queue and we'll get back to it. We'll try and get through as many as we can in the time we have. You ready to go, Mike?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So the most burning question, I think everyone knows what this is going to be about, the Velo token price. What we're looking to address it. Obviously, given the market conditions, it's really difficult for us to do much of anything. But Velo token price steps to address it, and what I guess the community, investors, etc., can expect in regards to sort of a turnaround time. Very broad. So, Mike, what do you feel?
Yeah, great question. Of course, it's certainly a question I think everyone in not just around Velo, but I think around in the industry in general is asking. So definitely a hot topic of conversation. Look, I'm not one that likes to put out predictions on token prices. Especially as a CEO, I think that's a little irresponsible. But what I will say, to this is, it's been a pretty rough market this year, and we've obviously, for those of us in the industry, at any level, I think there's been a lot of examples of what I mean when I say a tough market. We have seen assets that at one point in time, were thought to be innovative and stable and great investments. And we've seen those assets evaporate nearly overnight. We have seen and because of those things we've seen some fallout, right? We've seen a number of well-known companies, and I won't name any names, but we've seen exchanges, we've seen hedge funds evaporate right along with those assets. And we just in the last 36 hours we've seen some more examples of that type of thing in the market. And I think when you get these kind of things happening, it obviously leads to a lot of lower risk appetites with investors. A lot of people start to pull back from the market. And the shakeout from that is, as we see across the board, token prices start to drop, things start to stagnate. There's not the same growth factors and growth trajectories as there might have been prior to those occurrences. It's something that I think the entire market has to heal from. And I think it's how do you make the best use of this time in a down market. And for me, I think what we're doing, what we're looking to do, and what we're trying to do at Velo is really use this this time in the market to be at our most innovative, to build, to expand the ecosystem, to add solutions, and that's and that kind of lines up with the Every merger that we did. That has certainly brought talent, new talent into the company. It's allowed us to very quickly expand the solutions that we have, as well as the utility of the Velo token and the ecosystem. So I think that's all great great things, and I think all of those things, those type of things prepare us for for market and for when the market starts to improve and lead to a more positive growth trajectory that I think we're all looking for. So I think as we come out of this bear market and we start to bring and we start to launch some of these solutions in early 2023. We'll start to reap the rewards from some of those things, and I think that's what I'm excited about, and I think from the community perspective, that's what I would hope that the community is excited about too. Is the new solutions launching early next year, the expansion of the utility for the Velo token and the ecosystem as a whole, and those things coming together to lead to a positive growth trajectory.
Yeah, I think just the recent news got barely, it's not even 12 hours with the massive sort of unstaking of Solana caused a lot of chaos hot off the press of FTX. So it's a really difficult market, I think, just across the board. So, it can't be easy for you, Mike, but we do appreciate you sort of leading the helm while we ride this wave into however long it's going to be as a crypto winter. Okay, so second one. I think this kind of ties into the turnaround and how we're arresting it. Like, we've just had the merger with what's Velo working on now? We've got FCX, but what's in the pipeline? What's the big picture view here for people?
Yeah, well, like I just said, we're using the state of the market as an opportunity to build and to expand what we offer to the market. We've got some pretty exciting things going on. Again, working on expanding the utility of Velo, particularly adding the ability to stake directly on Velo Finance for some pretty exciting and impressive rewards. So I think that's that's one thing that we continue to work on, and I think the community can expect to see more of. We're again, as I alluded to just a few minutes ago, we're continuing to launch new solutions. So I think everybody's obviously excited about FCX. We've got perpetual trading. That's launching. That will add a lot of functionality, a lot of capability into the ecosystem, and we'll continue to work on and develop things around that. We've also made some some more visual, more UI based functional improvements to Velo Finance as we move forward to the next update of Velo product suite. So I think a new look and feel. So I think those things are always exciting. And obviously I'm a little bit governed. I've got a little bit of a governor on with what I can share. I obviously can't share too much of the roadmap. Just simply because we can't let the cat out of the bag before it's fully ready. And I certainly don't want to give our competitors any insights into what we're doing over the last few months and what's coming to market in the next several months. However, I think I guess at a high level, what I could share is that we have been working hard at creating I guess what we coin as the Web 3.2 ecosystem, which is really a setup from what the CDFI is aiming to achieve. We're taking the fundamental aspects of Web3 technology, being trustless, decentralized, and built around a distributed ledger on the blockchain, putting control into the hands of the users, and integrating other important aspects of Web 2 into that to ensure that there's maximum interoperability with TradeFi, with TradeFi applications and institutional players as well. And I touched on this a bit ago, but there's the perpetual trading platform, which we're viewing as a foundation for that new ecosystem, and that will work seamlessly with FCX. So we'll definitely be releasing a lot more, detail, technical detail, on this with the updated light paper that we're looking to release next month. So I think give it a few weeks, and and we'll be releasing some more updates and some more detail on all of those things.
Exciting stuff. Like I know, and this leads into the next question. The FCX has been hotly sought after. So what's the status? Where are we at with that? Like I know we communicated that August it's technically ready to go, but how's progress today?
Yeah, no, it's progressed. It's progressed well. At this stage, we've technically launched. I would say that we're in a soft launch period. We've onboarded a select group of partners, that we're working with, of strategic partners that we're working with, and we've been working with since early September. And we will progressively add more, add more participants into FCX over time. The testing and scaling up has performed very well to date, so we're very happy with that. And along with adding more participants into FCX over some time, we'll also be increasing the trading pairs that are available over FCX. So towards that end, we're really aiming for a full commercial launch with our Web 3.2 launch plans, as I just touched on. In early 2023, in probably in Q1 2023, we're looking at having that full commercial launch.
Yeah, that's it'll be exciting to see everything come to play. I know the team's working really, really hard since the merger to put everything together, especially with this. It's pretty exciting, right? We started out with the CD5 piece, but it never quite fit, right? So the 3.2 thing, it'll be really good to see all of this come to fruition. So Q1's, yeah, fingers crossed, everything comes to play and the crypto market doesn't go too crazy on us, but it's a good period to aim for. Partnerships, like what can we share in regards to some of the key partnerships that we have in place around when FCX and this new ecosystem is going to launch? And are there any type of volumes that we're sort of looking to hit prior to going full commercial launch? Like where are we there?
Yeah, I'll share what I can. A lot of talking about specific institutional partners at this stage is a bit premature. I don't think any of them are quite ready for us to do that. So respecting that, I won't share that. But suffice to say, as I just spoke about, there are strategic partners that are actively engaged on the platform. And we in line with their wishes, we'll let them make that announcement when they're ready. I think that was a fair ask on their part. So we'll leave it to those institutions to announce at the right place and the right time for them. From a trading pair perspective, again, we will be adding several trading pairs in the next week or two. And with that, we expect to see the daily trading volumes increase to around US 60 million or so shortly thereafter, once those pairs launch. We being positive, being aggressive, we do expect that the volume could ramp up to around 100 million through to the end of this year. So that's really what I could share in that area. We will we'll continue to focus on having partnerships with the trading community for non-deliverable forward speculating and hedging. Along with that, a real for real usage, we would look to connect to merchant partners to apply another upcoming solution we have, a payment solution that can also drive volume for FCX as well. So I think that's probably as deep as I would be comfortable sharing without exposing too much of what we have coming in the short term, and what we're working on with the institutional partners.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It is a sensitive time, and we are trying to be ahead of the curve rather than following. So being the leaders. Speaking of some of the partners, obviously before the Velo and Every merger, Velo was on a really specific trajectory with institutionals. Like two of the ones that we reported to previously in the sort of open source media, I guess as it were, is iRemit and PDAX. Where are we at with those guys? How are things with them, and how do they fit into the big picture?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've and this would be an example of where we've had agreements with the partners to go ahead and announce some of these things publicly. We're continuing to work with them. That project and other projects are progressing forward with those partners. Where the teams are working together and engaged daily, and diligently to push towards completion. And the fact is that the Velo team is working on a number of similar projects with other partners globally to improve the payments infrastructure and the cross-border payments flow. With obviously iRemit and PDAX. Both exist in one of the in the Philippines, one of the largest receive markets for remittance in the world. So we are very excited about that, and we have some of the origination side partners that are working with us to complete their integrations, which will allow some of these this remittance corridor to open up in production. So I think we expect to see that that coming in the next quarter or two. And again, that's it's not just the technical work that goes into that. I really want to make that clear. There's a lot that goes behind this stuff in terms of regulatory approvals, notifications, and that just all takes time. So when all those pieces fall into place, and the partners are ready to launch, they'll launch, and we will work with them to announce. But yeah, I'm happy to say that we are actively engaged with these guys and working forward.
Good stuff, and it couldn't have been easy during COVID as well to lock these into place. So.
No, well, I don't think anything was easy for much of anyone during COVID. So,
yeah.
It is what it is. In terms of COVID, we've worked through it, come out the other side of it, and things are continue to progress. We didn't take the foot off the gas with COVID, and we're not going to do it now.
Good stuff. Yeah, so that's a pretty hefty download. So it's I hope guys, if you have any questions, AMA questions channel /ask and put your question in there, and we'll get to them. We'll get to as many as we can. Now, Twitter. So there are a lot of sort of reoccurring questions that popped up on Twitter, but what we tried to grab were the ones that kind of a little bit unique, hopefully not too complex or too deep for this session. So we'll just skip through those. So I'm not going to mention any names because some of these questions were asked by multiple people through multiple different channels. So apologies if anyone sort of recognizes this as their question. We're trying not to apply any attribution. So get back up. First one. Can you tell us more about the lending platform to be released on Velo? Will it be over-collateralized lending? So it's a three-part question, so sorry for the multiple pieces. And what kind of currencies and cryptos will be supported?
Yeah, so with the lending platform, that will support several different types of pools. We were not just focused on in particular one area. So we will have several different types of collateralization pools that are available. Which will incorporate with our partners who provide the credit business for the platform. It's a little too early for us to announce specifically what assets we'll be supporting in the ecosystem. Because we want to avoid giving essentially tipping off the competition to what we're doing and essentially allowing them to get a head start on us with those assets. But we're working on that, and we will share more information on the specific assets closer to the launch date.
Yeah. The staying ahead of the curve is difficult in this market because everyone's probably hungry to really build the next big, great sort of innovation in the space and learning from the mistakes that have been made in recent months. Second question. We used to have an app. I think it was a long time ago. Is Velo looking to release with all these products and everything hitting the market early sort of next year? Do we have a mobile app aimed to support that at all? Like something that works with FCX or lending or remittance payments? What's our plans? I guess from the smartphone perspective.
Yeah. So let me talk to this in a couple of different ways. First of all, we're always looking, and we're always evaluating and looking for the best solutions we can bring to market, the most innovative solutions, things that are going to help the ecosystem grow and help our partners win business. Again, Velo's primary focus is really with technology enablement and innovation for financial services. We're very much aimed at equipping the financial services community with capabilities to enhance their service and offerings to end customers. So while we to do that, and we certainly we certainly have partners that leverage Velo technology to enable some of their mobile applications. We're approaching that sparingly. Right. At the same time, it's also worth noting that some of these areas that you've touched on, Mike, they are actually regulated activities in most markets,
Correct.
right? And so Velo is not it's not a financial institution at this point in time. We continue to be a technology company, again focused on developing solutions for financial services. So apps with cross-border applications that are natively ours, we won't be entering into any licensed activities in that way anytime in the near future. But and again, towards equipping some of our partners with technology that that can help them expand their business. We are looking at the possibility of developing a mobile app, to help support merchant payments for retail purchases. But again, that's probably shining the spotlight a few steps ahead of where we are. But it is something towards along those lines that I guess I'm comfortable to share. That is still very much in the early planning stages. But again, it's sort of giving an example of where I say we're always looking and evaluating how we can add value to the ecosystem. And this is sort of expanding on that, where we talk a lot about financial institutions, and in this particular use case, where we're talking about supporting the merchants, that work with financial institutions in a different way, to help improve their payments capability for retail purchases. So I mean, nothing natively that I would say to that. That we're developing for cross-border payments, but certainly we are looking to develop things for mobile use that can improve a payment scenario.
Yeah, I think very, very astute point, the regulated aspects, especially that last one on the merchant payments. It's not such a, developing the tech is easy, but, you know, getting it into market's a different thing. Okay, something a little bit more, you know, easier, hopefully, for you to answer. Your day-to-day role since you took over a Velo, like, you know, what's your what's life in the like? What's it like in life for Mike on a day-to-day basis in Velo?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, look, the life of Mike is, as you put it, you know, it varies day to day. You know, there's always a lot going on. You know, and you know, and you know, as it should be. You know, you know, in my view, you know, a CEO doesn't really have one hat. I don't really believe there's such a thing as a CEO hat. I think, you know, it's you know, I think a CEO really has to wear several hats all at the same time. And you know, so you know, I'll answer that question less about what I do on a day-to-day basis, and more about the way that I approach it. You know, so you know, I think I would kind of break it down like this. You know, a CEO's first job, in my view, is to work with their team to strategize and build products, solutions that the markets need, and you know, the end users are going to love. I think that's first and foremost. Second job is really collaborating, you know, with and aligning functional leaders in the company to maximize, you know, the opportunities that those products have surfaced, and helping them, you know, to align and lead their teams towards that same goal and maximizing the opportunity. And I think the third thing I would say here is, you know, really leveraging those first two in order to harvest the profits and the gains from that core business, so that we can continue to take those profits, take those gains, and invest in more in new transformative product ideas, you know, new solutions. So you know, we continue to innovate. You know, we continue to keep up with the market. And we continue to push, you know, the market forward, and challenge the confines of innovation. So, yeah, I would really say on a day-to-day basis, that, you know, that's pretty much what I aim to do, and what I think I do. You know, I work very closely with the founders of Velo Labs, on a day-to-day basis. I don't think. Honestly, don't think there's a day that goes by that I'm not engaged with them one way or another. You know, be that in a meeting, be that you know, exchanging emails, messages, and along those same lines, you know, with our leadership team, you know, and you know, and the different departments that they lead on a day-to-day basis, is really where you can find find me most of the day, and it is doing something in those three areas.
Yeah, it's it must be pretty hectic. Can't even imagine. Plus, you're doing it from Singapore as well, right? So you know, having to really
I mean, you know, everybody's somewhere, and I mean, we're a pretty globally dispersed team. You know, so you know, I you know, don't let the locale you know, make much difference there. And yeah, I mean, it can be busy, but it's a good busy. I mean, I think you know, at times the word hectic can have negative connotations. You know, but you know, I think if we were to use the word hectic, I would just qualify it to say, you know, it's a good hectic. I mean, there's positive things going on. There's positive outcomes. You know, they never happen as fast as we want, of course. But you know, they are happening, and they are you know, they are coming to market. And you know, and I think that's the positive you know, side of all the effort that goes forward.
Correct. Yeah, it is. It is definitely hectic. I appreciate what you mean, but it is a good hectic. It's a productive one. A lot of things happening at a very fast pace. So yeah. So I guess talking about global sense, our partners, right? Like, this question's pretty broad. Like, the partners that we have in place, how are these guys, the ones that were picked, if we hark back to what we talked about with, you know, what we're doing with FCX now, like, how are these guys going to be the, I guess, the anchors in helping Velo to be successful. Like, for example, they comment about, Velo previously stated that we were looking at accessing the 7-Eleven stores in Asia. Like, how are our kind of select partners helping us to achieve what we want to achieve into next year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how are they helping us? They come up with use cases, right? They come up with use cases, they come up with needs, they come up with value add improvements, that will be meaningful to their businesses, right? So that's really, I think, the most powerful way, that they help us is, that they have use cases, or that maybe push further what use cases that we've envisioned, or they need slight modifications to that. So it helps us build a more robust, well-rounded solutions. So I think that's one of the major ways that these partners help us. At the same time, again, as I mentioned earlier, these are complex solution. So when we're taking the 7-Eleven scenario that you mentioned as an example, right? I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of outlets, spread out across multiple different countries. And again, this again gets into regulation. Not every country on the planet is has a framework for convenience stores to do to do remittance, right, and to hold funds and do things like that. So these can be complex projects, and they do take time. And some of that we have to wait for regulatory approvals to come forward. And again, because of a lot of these challenges, and challenge is too strong a word. Don't want to sound like critical of regulators, because absolutely not the case. But it is something that we have to work through. And as we work through that, a lot of the financial institutions, again, do prefer that we not share the details of the projects that they're working on, or them by name, just simply because again, regulated activities and things that they want to make sure that they have a handle on, that are working the way they need them to work, for compliance, for regulation, before they start making public announcements. Having worked in this space for a while, I would completely agree with that approach. There's no point in creating any undue concern or alarm, especially in today's climate. With as we were speaking about earlier. So I think caution is probably a cautious approach is probably better than than a bullish approach on those type of things. But again, we continue to work. We continue to actively establish new partnerships. We've got teams, as I mentioned, spread out globally, that their job, their day-to-day responsibility is to go out and seek new partnerships and new use cases for Velo and our solutions. So there are quite a few things we haven't announced, and we're eager to share those things with the community. And when the time is right, we definitely aren't going to be shy about sharing those things. So I would definitely encourage the community, if they're different channels, Telegram, Twitter, our Medium channel, for updates. LinkedIn as well is another channel that we tend to post things on. But as these things have come to fruition and are ready for public announcement, rest assured they will be made public.
Good stuff. All right, so this last one, a little bit left field. When we started this journey back in 2018, smart contracts were kind of a twinkle in the eye of DeFi. Stellar was definitely a ways behind, but recently, and obviously coming from Stellar myself, it's good to see that they've caught up. So the Soroban smart contracts tech, right? Velo is very vocal about how close a partnership we have with Stellar. Are there any plans, at least for say Q1 next year, to look at integrating the Soroban smart contracts, or where are we at with that, the Stellar team?
Yeah, no, it's an exciting development, and I know the Stellar team's been working hard on that for a while, and it's wonderful. It's great to see the recent launch of their testnet platform for smart contracts. I'm excited about it, and I know a lot of the Velo team is excited about it. Obviously, Stellar of course is excited about it. That's just but it's a recent development. It's a recent launch. There's nothing that's solid for us on that right now. We are evaluating the technology to understand how and examine how it could complement some of the different areas, the different solutions that we have planned in our roadmap. But again, given the short amount of time that the testnet's actually been available, we've not made any firm decisions yet on how we might use smart contracts on Stellar. Certainly nothing that it would be way premature to share anything like that here today. But I can say that absolutely we're already evaluating the technology. Stellar's have been talking about it for a while. They've been working on it for a while. We're going to continue to be close to the Stellar Development Foundation. In fact, I think I have a call with them tomorrow morning. We're very up to speed and looped into what they're doing, and we definitely want to see how we can use advances on the Stellar on the Stellar network to further push forward our solutions and our use case. So that's definitely a work in progress. But so please stay tuned. We'll definitely share any developments that we have in that area.
Okay, so questions that have popped up during the chat. Now, as I mentioned, guys, for the people listening, the AMA questions channel /ask, and then put your question in. The bot seems to be on a break, but I can see your questions here in the chat. I'm going to probably slightly rework some of the questions because obviously Mike, even as CEO, he doesn't know everything in every intrinsic value, right? I might be able to help on some of the questions. The tokenomics one. So general questions around tokenomics. So we're talking about token model for Velo with USDV coming up. Like, you feel comfortable to answer that one, Mike? I've got a generic question I can give because I'm writing the light paper at the moment, and tokenomics is a big part of that. But do you want to cover anything on that?
I mean, I think you've touched on what I was just going to say, Mike. I mean, I think we're reworking some of that now, and making some updates, to it. Certainly circulation for USDV would be minimal. I think that will ramp up in time, but I think circulation there is minimal. And if I'm looking at circulation for Velo token, I don't know the exact circulation off the top of my head, but I think the last time I looked, it was 1.2 billion or somewhere thereabouts.
Yeah, a little over 1.2 billion. The bulk of which is on obviously the exchanges at the moment with the amount of trading that's going on.
Yeah.
I think to that point, and I've covered this multiple times in the Telegram group, right? Like, we've had a number of initiatives with investors to either stake the Lumen swap that was shared a ways back, so there is what is online from the KuCoin listing, but how it stands at the moment is vastly different, and you can't look at the trading volume on an exchange is an indication of what the actual circulating supply really is. There's no real way that you can look at without going through each and every single wallet and trying to figure out what's happening. But you can't see the stuff on the centralized exchanges, which is the big issue. So there is going to be a big section on tokenomics in the light paper. The light paper will cover the new products that Mike's talked to, and then how the Velo token works. To that one, Mike, and you might because this is a bit more of a strategy one. Like obviously creating the scarcity for the token is important. Like how do you feel that the stuff you talk to is going to lead to a fear that there's scarcity in the Velo token in the market? Obviously that impacts on demand and pricing. The question literally reads as, what future application scenarios will lead to Velo scarcity? So I'm presuming that's what he's kind of alluding to. Like,
yeah, I mean,
supply in the market. Are you able to talk to some of the utility coming up for Velo?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just spoke to some of that, right, Mike? Yeah, I mean, certainly, we can quickly touch on that again, but I think some of the information we shared earlier, actually answered some of that. So again, we continue to we've got on the cross-border payment side, we've got a lot of a lot of partners working on applications for Velo, with Velo technology and Velo token there. We've got FCX that's in soft launch now. That will be coming into full commercial launch. I think that will certainly bring in quite a bit of more utilization and increased utility for for Velo. So I mean, as well as the applications built around that. So I think those are really the two big things, right? As well as the perpetual trading platform that we've that will be coming to market soon as well. So I mean, I think the combination of all those things is going to is going to improve the utility of the token.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the merger did bring a massive amount of utility, like with having every on there, just the ability to stake yield farming, whatnot. It's huge. It's a big foundation to build on. USDV, like it's set up as a farm on. Obviously, people can exchange. I believe like stable coins or Velo for USDV. But when are we going to start seeing? I guess this will probably. I guess we've already kind of answered this, but is there going to be a pegging mechanism for USDV? Like, is it? How's it going to work with FCX? Are you able to talk a little bit about that, or is it a bit too sensitive because of the competitive landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably don't want to share too much about FCX, especially in the soft stage. I think again, I think some of this will be coming out in the light paper and some of the other material that we share as we move into production launch. But I think it might be still a little bit too sensitive to talk about those mechanisms here.
Yeah, I since it's I'll have the first draft just to be open with the community out for internal review tomorrow. It is a rough draft, so we are sort of aiming for the next several weeks to hopefully get something out that we can share. But there's a lot of things that need to click into place on that. Maybe just one final one, sort of conscious of the time we have gone over time. Who do we feel is our biggest competitor? What's Velo's biggest competitor in the market? Number one competitor in the market at the moment?
Oh gosh,
out from the landscape, obviously with Terror out of the way. Who do you think?
I mean, it depends what angle you're asking, and you're asking the question from, right? There's there's obviously Ripple, that's there. I mean, but in some ways you could you could look at some of the things that I mean, you could in some ways you could start to call, if you were to take an on-ramp, off-ramp perspective, you could start to look at MoneyGram these days as a competitor. I don't really consider them one, but so there's, you could look at in certain applications, you could look at Circle and see some of the things that Circle is doing, with their partners as competitive to things that we're doing it with our partners and in our ecosystem. With the launch of some of our new solutions like FCX, right? You could start to call like you could start to look at different dexes and things in the market, right? As competitors. So I think it can be very, very broad, in those terms. But I guess, yeah, if we were to look at, I would certainly say, Ripple could be considered a big competitor if we're looking at terms in terms of, technology enablement, and the focus areas on payments, lending, and tokenization and some of these other areas that we do work in, that would certainly be an obvious one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a complicated question to answer, especially with all the products we've got coming up. But okay. So we're over time, but I think it's been a really productive session. I know people have been really eager for this. Does anyone have any final questions before we start looking at closing things down? Oh, okay. Roadmap. That's an interesting one. Roadmap you will see more of when the light paper's out. That's an easy one to answer. So hopefully end of December. We're aiming to get it out. Might be early Jan. I don't want to sort of commit a timeline, but it is currently being written. As Mike talked to previously, we're aiming to have a lot sort of released in Q1, quite a lot. So the roadmap will come with that as well. Mike, did you have anything you want to share with the community in general?
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I really, really want to thank everyone who's spent. I know we've got people from all over the world, so I really want to thank everyone, for making the time out of their day, wherever you might be in the world. Definitely appreciate the continued interest and support that the community's shown. I mean, I'll look forward to to the next time, to the next one of these sessions, and definitely enjoy engaging with the community. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some of the community out at some of these events. I think more recently I was at Token 2049 and the Singapore FinTech Festival. So there's always a lot of things going on, but hope to see folks out at some of these events as well.
Sounds good. Thanks everyone for hanging in to the end. I know it's a long session. This will be uploaded in the next week, probably I'll say around 2 weeks, because we've got a lot of post-production stuff we need to do, combining the audio and the video together. Mike, thanks again for your time. And I know you're a pretty busy guy, so appreciate you spending this hour sort of to update the community on where we've been for the last quarter and what's coming up in the future.
Hey, thank you, Mike. And again, thank you to everyone who joined. The community is key important. So I'm glad to have been here, and I'm glad to have the time with folks.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.